Welcome to my creative critical reflection. What is my product about? For this magazine task, I decided to adopt the movie film genre. Although some of my research is not focused on film magazines, this is because I wanted to subvert the stereotypical film magazine and aim to produce more of an independent poster style layout. This will be my magazine's main unique selling point. ID and Dazed were my main magazine influencers. Question 1. How does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? The codes and conventions of film magazines. Masthead. Film magazines conventionally have a masthead situated at the top of the page, which is the largest piece of text on the page. It dominates the page, drawing attention to itself. This unusual masthead draws readers' attention to the cover, then entices them into opening the magazine and finding out what is held inside. However, one disadvantage is that when the magazine is placed on the display rack, it will be hard for the viewer to see the entire title, which may put the reader off. Using my example of Empire and Total Film, these film publications focus on populist titles which attract a wide range of target audience. My magazine contents page again challenges this convention, as my title is not placed at the top but follows my house style and runs horizontally against the side of the picture. Image. In order to draw audiences in, film magazines rely hugely on stars as a unique selling point. By featuring someone famous on the front cover and plastering famous names over the cover will not only draw your intended target audience but likely to entice a wider range of people who are solely interested in just the star. I follow this convention by featuring one of my actresses from my featured film. By featuring a well-known individual might increase the magazine's selling power. The image used on the front cover represents a social group of women. For this particular issue, I am targeting this social group because young people are very involved in social issues, such as feminism, and it is supposed to empower them and their beliefs. Related to my chosen social issue, female empowerment, the model is positioned in a confident, feminine, yet powerful pose. Usually women are presented in a feminine manner with pink backgrounds. Here I challenge this stereotype by placing my model on a green-based background in order to connote the fact that women and femininity are much more mise-en-scene. Graphics and colors are interchangeable depending on the featured film. For example, if a horror film was being featured on the front cover, the color theme would be dark hues with splashes of red. If the issue was featuring a fantasy family film, the colors would be lighter and softer with pastel tones. Action films featured on the front cover commonly exhibit colors that are rich, deep, and masculine. The maximum amount of colors used on the front cover is up to 3. Both Empire and Total Film change up their mise-en-scène depending on the featured film. I go against all the main conventions of a film magazine by mainly getting my inspiration from other magazine genres such as fashion and style magazines, in which they focus more on simplicity rather than filling up the page with splashes and whatnot. Film magazine target audiences. The target audience who read film magazines are largely male-dominated, and they are of course hardcore film fans. In order to appeal to men, the magazine are mainly image-oriented with little text. The target audience for my magazine, like any other magazine, is made out of teenagers and young adults mainly. In addition, I want this product to be mainly for people who enjoy art in the form of pictures and aesthetic magazines. I challenge most of the typical codes and conventions of a film magazine by going for more of a poster-style layout. After much research over both the conventions of a film magazine and the conventions of an indie magazine, I combine both of the styles to create my own individual house style. Question 2. How does your product engage with the audience, and how would it be distributed as a real media text? The main way in which my product will engage with the audience is through social media. The audience have the option to submit suggestions or even work, such as upcoming movies or directions. Directors can submit their work in order to be featured in the issue. The magazine will have a main website that any inquiries could be asked. The audience opinion on the articles and photography is very important because the magazine is still setting itself up. The layout and content is very experimental at this point, so feedback is crucial for the magazine's overall improvement. Exclusive content will also be featured on the website, such as any pop-up cinema events, best award shows to go to, and such. My magazine will mainly be distributed online, but will also have one printed issue every 3 months, totaling up to 4 issues a year. The printed version of the magazine will be distributed only to people who order it from the website. The main platform used will be the magazine's website, icon.com. Similarly to ID, the website will be treated as a blog where new updates will be constantly posted. This is a great idea in my opinion, as most of my target audience is of a younger demographic, which in whole spend most of their time online, reading articles recommended to them by Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, such as. I would promote my magazine mainly through Instagram. Instagram is a photo-based social media platform where users create an individual page where they can share videos and photos on their online following. Photos are the most engaging content on the web, with visual posts producing over 650% higher engagement than text-only posts. Many brands and magazines use Instagram to promote their brands, such as ID. ID uses Instagram to tease the audience, hinting what may be in the next issue, while still posting news about upcoming events and shows, etc. Question 3. How did your production skills develop throughout this project? This task helped me develop so many skills related to the production and design of print. Looking back to the development of my magazine, I can see how much my knowledge has improved, especially regarding software. My contents and cover page were both done on Photoshop, whilst my article was done on InDesign. My biggest achievement is the amount of skills I have gained by working and experimenting with InDesign. InDesign is not a program I am familiar with. In fact, I had never heard of it until my teacher suggested it. I spent most of the time in InDesign because it was the most challenging part. I tried many different arrangements of my double-page spread until I got the final draft. However, because I already had efficiently developed a house style, this had made the designing process much easier. Furthermore, I have also gained a more in-depth view of photography in general. I was not very familiar with all the properties of a professional camera and the setup, including studio lights, the tripod, etc. But throughout my photo shoot, I had also learned a lot about lighting and the composition a picture should have. I also kept in mind of creating negative space in my photographs, as I had to leave room for text. Question 4. How did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? Without the use of technology, the making of my magazine would not have been possible. For this assignment, I used a variety of software, hardware, and online websites. Software. Photoshop. I used Photoshop for the majority of this project to produce the front cover and contents page. I decided to use Photoshop to produce these due to its great variety of tools that give my text a professional look. Furthermore, Photoshop allows me to combine techniques, tones, and effects in such a way my basic image looks like something on the front of a magazine. I also use Photoshop to edit all my photographs, such as removing any imperfection on the model's skin, editing the contrast, the brightness, etc. I have used Photoshop previously before and I felt quite confident with the program, so I was able to complete all the tasks easily and quickly, and further developing my skills on the program. InDesign. I mainly used InDesign to create my article. InDesign is not a program I'm familiar with. In fact, I had never heard of it until my teacher suggested it. But after doing some research, I had noticed that its main purpose is to create double-page spreads for magazines. Instead of going for the safe option and using Photoshop, I wanted to learn how to use the new program. InDesign allowed me to put together and create a professional double-page spread. To create the double-page spread, I had to watch a variety of online tutorials to teach me how to use the software, as it is nothing like Photoshop. I would say the article was the hardest thing to create and took the longest time. However, I felt the experience of using InDesign has been rewarding, and the product turned out much better than I ever could imagine. Hardware. The camera. The main device that I used was the camera Nikon D3200. The camera was well adapted to the different types of lighting, natural and studio. It helped me create a nice effect with details because of its range of apertures. Laptop. The entire project was done on the MacBook Pro. In terms of general setup, studio lights, memory card, tripod were also used. Online. The main online website I used throughout this project was Wix. I used Wix to document all my progress and development of my magazine. From generic magazine research to analysis and deconstruction of magazine text, to then creating drafts and reproducing a final piece. Furthermore, I used a range of online websites to help me create my article, cover page, and contents. The main being Wikipedia, YouTube, Google Images, and Pinterest. Thank you for listening to my creative critical reflection.